Hello, my dear students. I welcome you all in the online session of DAV Moyle Public School, Sita Savangi. I welcome all the students of 7th standard in the online session of subject science. So, my dear students, in the previous session of science, we have learned motion, that are uniform and non-uniform motion. And our today's topic is time. We look at the time every day. What do you mean by time? Any changes or movement which takes place is understood in terms of physical dimension called as time. As you all know that time is measured in terms of year, week, month, day, hour, second, millisecond. As you all know that time play an important role in our life. Any changes or moment which takes place is understood in terms of a physical dimension called as time. Time and changes are often linked together. Some natural events such as sunset, sunrise, lunar eclipse, all this happens once in a while. Some natural events such as regular fixed interval like sunset and sunrise takes place in every day-to-day time schedule. So, in ancient time, people use such a natural event repeating themselves at a regular interval of time. For example, sunrise and sunset season in a year changes in an appearance of moon. To count and define the interval of time, the time interval between one sunrise and the next was called as day. Similarly, a month was measured from one new moon to the next. A year was fixed as the time taken by the earth to the complete one revolution of sun. So, my dear students, there is the relationship between movement and time. See, there is certain relation between movement of a car. How can we say that this car is moving faster than this car? We can talk the speed in terms of time only. So, my dear students, we will learn measurement of time in this session. The early scientists developed so many devices to measure time interval that are much smaller than a day. Devices like the sundial, the hourglass and water clock use to measure time. Nowadays, we depend upon clock and watch to measure interval of time in terms of seconds, minutes and hour. We measure our time in terms of days, in terms of month, in terms of hours, in terms of minutes, in terms of second. Isn't it? So, my dear students, have you ever had a thought that how the clock shows the exact time period? So, now let us go and learn how the clock measure the time. Most of the clock make use of some periodic motion. An oscillating simple pendulum is an example of periodic motion. Just look at the simple pendulum. This pendulum is moving. This pendulum is moving in the same motion, to and fro. To and fro means in the same direction and at the same interval of time. Have you ever seen a pendulum clock? There is a pendulum hanging in the clock. In this way, it moves in an equal interval of time and we count this as 1 second. So, this is nothing but the pendulum. So, what do you mean by pendulum? A simple pendulum made up of a metallic ball attached to a light string or tightened, that is fixed rigidly at one end. The pendulum is free to oscillate. What do you mean by oscillate? That we will learn ahead. When the bob of the pendulum is slightly displaced from its mean position, the bob undergoes a regular or to and fro motion. So, this is nothing but it is called as oscillation. Now you can see that pendulum is moving to and fro in the equal interval of time. So, a complete motion of a pendulum from its mean position to its one cycle is called as oscillation. Here you can see that this is the mean position and the pendulum moves from here and come back to the mean position, and this whole cycle is called as oscillation. One such complete to and fro motion is equivalent to one oscillation, and the time taken for one complete oscillation by the pendulum is known as the time period of the pendulum. Now see, this is the mean position and your pendulum is moving there and coming back, there and coming back. This is called as oscillation, and the time taken for this process is called as time period. So, students, do you know how the pendulum was discovered? The simple pendulum was discovered by the scientist Galileo. According to him, slight change in initial displacement does not affect the time period of the pendulum. A pendulum of given length takes a definite time to complete one oscillation. If two pendulums of same length are taken, they will take some time to complete one oscillation. This observation lead to design of the pendulum clock. So my dear students, this was all about time, and now we are going to correlate the time with the motion in the next session. Till then, thank you and have a nice day.